Good morning from Beijing and welcome to CGTN. I'm Li Dongning. Now, China is unveiling its plans to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. Officials are briefing the media on the arrangements for the commemorative activities.
女士们、先生们，大家上午好！欢迎出席国务院新闻办新闻发布会。今年是中国人民抗日战争
This year marks the 80th anniversary of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. We will hold commemorative activities. People from all walks of life have been following this closely. Today we are joined by Executive Vice Minister of the Publicity Department, Mr. Hu Heping, Deputy Head of the Office of the Leading Group for Military Parade, Major General of Operations Bureau of the Joint Staff Department of the Central Military Commission, Mr. Wu Zeke. They will brief the arrangements for these activities and take your questions. Now I'd like to give floor to Mr. Hu Heping.
Dear friends from the press, good morning. It is my great pleasure to brief you today on the program for the commemorative activities marking the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. 80 years ago, after having fought tenaciously for 14 years, the Chinese people won the great victory of their war of resistance against the Japanese aggression, marking the full victory of the World Anti-Fascist War. This was a great victory for the Chinese people and for people around the world. As the Chinese people mark the 80th anniversary of the Resistance War and the World Anti-Fascist War, it is of profound significance to hold commemorative activities to remember history, remembered heroes, and promote the great patriotic spirit and the spirit of resisting aggression. In March this year, the CPC Central Committee and the State Council issued a notice to set up the general framework for the commemorative activities. Today I'm going to brief you on the main segments. First of all, on the morning of September the 3rd, in the name of the CPC Central Committee, the State Council, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, the National Committee of the CPPCC, and the Central Military Commission, there will be the solemn commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War at the Tiananmen Square, including a review of the troops. President Xi Jinping, General Secretary Xi Jinping will deliver an important address. This will be followed by a reception at noon in Beijing, and General Secretary Xi Jinping will deliver an important address. On the same evening, there will be a gala in Beijing attended by party and state leaders. Second, in the name of the CPC Central Committee, the State Council and the Central Military Commission, we are going to award commemorative medals to the veterans, elderly comrades, and senior officials who are still with us and all their families for the 80th anniversary in commemoration of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression. And local governments and other government departments will also organize events to honor these groups of people across the country. Third, on July the 7th, the CPC Central Committee, the State Council, and the Central Military Commission will hold a ceremony to mark the 88th anniversary of the eruption of the nationwide resistance and open an exhibition at the Museum of the War of the Chinese People's Resistance against the Japanese aggression. The theme of the exhibition is for the entire nation's resistance and world peace. Fourth, around September the 3rd, there will be workshops for compatriots from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, and related personnel from overseas, and also international academic seminars in relation to the commemoration. Fifth, on September the 18th, the CPC Liaoning Provincial Committee and Liaoning government will hold a bell tolling ceremony at the September 19th Historical Museum to commemorate the incident. 6th, around October the 25th, there will be a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the recovery of Taiwan, and overseas Chinese will also organize commemorative activities locally. 7th, on December the 13th, in the name of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, there will be a national memorial ceremony for the Nanjing Massacre victims at the Memorial Hall of the Victims in Nanjing Massacre by Japanese invaders in Nanjing. 8th, we are going to release the 4th list of state facilities and sites related to the resistance war and a list of the famous heroes and groups of heroes. There will be maintenance of these facilities, sites, and relics, and exhibitions will be put on display. 9th, literary and artistic works and publications will be unveiled in relation to the commemoration. A number of major research topics will also be identified to step up academic research. We're also going to release commemorative medals and coins and stamps. 10th, local governments and government agencies will organize public commemorative activities, and these activities will also be organized in Hong Kong and Macau. These are the main segments of the program. The CPC Central Committee has made it clear that all commemorative activities must observe the 8-point regulation on good governance and official conduct and the regulation on frugality in party and government agencies. There will be no formalism, no waste. The events will be solemn and also simple. Let me stop here first. Thank you. Next, let me give the floor to Major General Wu Zeke.
Friends from the media, good morning. It's a great pleasure to brief you on the parade. The CPC Central Committee and the Central Military Commission has decided that on September the 3rd, a grand military parade will be held in Tiananmen in Beijing. Secretary General of the CPC Central Committee, President and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Xi Jinping, will inspect the troops. This parade will be an important component of the activities to mark the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. The theme is to commemorate the great victory of the War of Resistance and to carry forward the great spirit of the war. The purpose is to showcase the historical standing of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression as the main eastern battlefield of the World Anti-Fascist War and the important contributions made to the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War, and to showcase the important role of the CPC as a pillar in the war of resistance, as well as to show that China firmly defends the fruits of the victory of the World War II and international fairness and justice, and is working proactively for a community with a shared future for mankind. The purpose is to demonstrate that the People's Liberation Army is firmly committed to upholding the core and obeying the party's command, that the PLA is taking on a new look in political army building, developing a new paradigm in the structure of its forces, and making new progress in modernization and new achievements in combat preparations. It is firmly committed to defending national sovereignty, security, and development interests, to safeguarding world peace. And this parade will inspire the entire party, military, and people of all ethnic groups in China to rally even more closely around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, to work to achieve the goals for the centenary of the PLA and more quickly elevate our people's armed forces to world-class standards, and strive to advance the building of a great modern socialist country and the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation on all fronts through Chinese modernization. This military parade will be composed of foot formation, armament formation, aircraft formation. Both the PLA and the People's Armed Police will take part. And we have carefully designed the formations and groups. There are mainly three features. First, we give emphasis to both carrying forward historical traditions and also showcasing the highlights of the era. On the one hand, through showcasing the unit designations, meritorious achievements of the troops that had participated in the resistance war, we show our respect. We pay our tribute to those who sacrificed their lives and carry forward their great spirit. The sacrifice they made will go down in history as a monument in people's hearts and will forever inspire the People's Armed Forces to defend national dignity. On the other hand, by displaying the new system capabilities and new outlook of the armed forces, we can show the world the historical achievements made in the new era and the historical transformation that has taken place. That the PLA is moving toward becoming a world-class armed force. The second feature is that we showcase both the new troops as well as efforts for integration. The foot formation mainly showcases the new layout following reform of the armed forces, and it is composed of three different armed forces. In terms of armament formation, it showcases the latest outcomes through different groups and formations. We demonstrate the new model of joint command, joint action, and joint safeguards, and highlight our independent innovation capabilities in terms of armament. As for aircraft formation, we showcase the most advanced fighting capabilities, which are rapidly developing and systematic. The third feature is that we showcase both the traditional main battle forces as well as the new quality forces. All the equipment showcased in the parade are active duty main battle equipment. In addition to showcasing the latest traditional weaponry, we also showcase new type combat capabilities such as unmanned smart, undersea, cyber electronic, and hypersonic forces, which shows that our armed forces can adapt to the developments of technology, the evolution of warfare, and win the fights of the future. And in terms of designing the procedures of the parade and creating the right atmosphere and showcasing the different elements of the war of resistance, we have also taken some innovative approaches. For instance, we have established a joint military band that will play classic songs and music that were popular during the war of resistance, as well as pieces of music that have distinct features of the times, so that people can feel the so as to help people relive that glorious past and to create a solemn atmosphere for the commemorative activities. As we speak, we are making preparations in an orderly manner in accordance with the plan approved by the CPC Central Committee and the Central Military Commission. Our work has received the great support of central and state organs as well as Beijing municipality. During the military parade, we will practice diligence and frugality, not only to make best use of the existing conditions, but also to have a cost-effective parade. We firmly believe that under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, the Central Military Commission, and President Xi, and with joint efforts of all participants, we will be able to show people throughout China and throughout the world a grand parade that showcases the spirit of the resistance war, the ethos of the times, and the posture of China as a major country. Thank you. Now we open the floor to questions. Please identify your media affiliation before raising the questions. Just now, Minister Hu shared with us the overall arrangements for the activities, which is very solemn. What is the main purpose and the features?
As you rightly mentioned, the commemorative activities will be solemn ones. The Chinese People's War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression is a national struggle in which the Chinese people fought against the longest invasion at the largest scale and suffered the most casualties. It was also an enormous contribution to the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War. The theme of the commemorative activities will be to remember history, honor our heroes, cherish peace, and open up the future. The idea is to remember the hard struggles of the Chinese people, to remember all those heroes who laid down their lives, and all those who contributed to the Chinese People's War of Resistance, to demonstrate the Chinese people's position and resolve to firmly follow a path of peaceful development and stand firmly for world peace, and to open up a brighter future with the wisdom and strength that history offers us. In recent years, the CPC and the government every year organizes events to commemorate the resistance war, such as the eruption of the nationwide resistance, the victory of the resistance war, the September 18th incident, and the victims of the Nanjing massacre. The commemoration this year will be distinctive in the following ways. First of all, it will be held at high levels. The commemoration this year is a big event for the CPC and the state. In the brief framework that I set out earlier, there are 5 events held in the name of the CPC Central Committee and the state, including the commemoration, reception, awarding of commemorative medals, and a theme exhibition, and also a national memorial ceremony. The events are held at such high levels to demonstrate the party and the state's respect for history and for heroes, and to better stimulate patriotism. Second, the commemoration will be extensive in scope. The victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance is a historic epic in which all Chinese people pulled together and prevailed against a stronger enemy. Local governments and government agencies will also organize relative events, as is set out by the general framework of the CPC Central Committee. The places of the main battles, historic events, and the provinces and cities where armed forces in the resistance war carried out their activities will also organize workshops and academic seminars, photo exhibitions, artistic work exhibitions. Our compatriots from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau, and from overseas will also organize commemorative activities to honor the memory. Third, we are very much focused on public participation. In April this year, the Ministry of Communication has issued a notice together with relevant agencies to set out the arrangement for public events. Local governments and government agencies are also required to organize public activities based on their own conditions, leveraging the role of various cultural groups. And these events will be clearly themed and take various forms and full of educational significance to promote the great spirit of resisting aggression. We're also going to invite friends from overseas to participate in these events, and in academic seminars, we're also going to unveil artistic and literary works and hold themed exhibitions in some relevant countries. We welcome all countries and people who love peace to follow and take part in China's commemorative activities to jointly honor the great victory of the Chinese people and also the great victory of the World Anti-Fascist War. Thank you.
好，继续提问。好，这边吧，第3排这位记者。对。
好，谢谢凤凰卫视记者提问。2015年纪念抗日战争胜利70周年。
In 2015, during the commemoration of the 70th anniversary, there were veterans taking part. Is the commemoration this year going to include veterans? Will there also be KMT veterans?
Thank you. Veterans are heroes of the country. They are the pillars of the nation and the witnesses of victory. 80 years ago, when the country was faced with grave danger, those veterans stood out for the nation. They fought for the country, and they fought for dignity. They defended our great motherland. Their ferociousness and their determination to fend off foreign aggression and their noble sacrifice should be forever respected and remembered. In 2015, during the parade of the 70th anniversary of the victory of the War of Resistance, there was a formation composed of more than 300 veterans. They were the first formation to be inspected on a moving vehicle, and there were outstanding members of forces that supported the front line, the children of the heroes that also took part in the formation, as well as veterans of the Kuomintang, which shows the great tribute to our heroes and the great spirit of the War of Resistance. There were many touching moments when they passed through the Tiananmen and they touched the whole nation as well as the world. 10 years have passed. Now, the majority of the veterans who are still with us are nearly 100 years old. They witnessed history, and they are an invaluable treasure for the Chinese nation. This time, considering their health conditions, we will not have veterans take part as a formation, but we will invite veterans who took part in the War of Resistance, the old members of the militia, members who supported the front line, and the families of the fallen heroes to participate as the audience so that we can pay tribute to our heroic predecessors. The War of Resistance was a war that the whole nation took part in, including the Kuomintang. So we will also invite veterans of the Kuomintang to witness the parade in the audience. Thank you.
谢谢，我是封面新闻记者。
This parade will be the second parade to mark the War of Resistance. What will be the new features in terms of showcasing that history? Thank you for your attention and your question. On August 15th, 1945, Japan surrendered unconditionally. The victory of Chinese people's war of resistance against Japanese aggression is a great victory of justice prevailing over evil, brightness prevailing over darkness, and progressiveness prevailing over reaction. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the victory of that war, and holding a military parade in Tiananmen Square is an institutional arrangement to mark an important anniversary, and this is an important component of the commemorative activities. It has great political and historical significance. In this parade, we will highlight the theme of the victory of the War of Resistance and put in many elements to showcase it. First, to carry forward the legacy of the War of Resistance. The majority of troops participating in the parade are from units that have been passed down from troops that participated in the War of Resistance, including the 8th Root Army, New 4th Army, the Northeastern China Anti-Japanese United Forces, and South China guerrillas. So it will be a tribute to the legacy of those heroic troops. Second, we will pay tribute to the meritorious deeds. The banners of troops that had achieved meritorious victories will be selected so that we can showcase the great victory, remember their feats, and pay tribute to the fallen heroes. It will also be a good way to carry forward the fine tradition of the Army. A third point is to relive historical classics. As I mentioned, we will have a joint military band playing classic music during the time of the war, and in addition, we have designed a special emblem for the parade so that people throughout China can relive this glorious past, its spirit, and be inspired by those who had defended national dignity and made the ultimate sacrifice. Next question, please.
I'm with Bloomberg News. I wanted to ask, are there any plans to invite national leaders from other countries to participate in the parade and the other activities? And if there are, could you tell us about some of the progress that's been made? Thank you.
好，请翻译一下。
彭博社提问：请问这次纪念活动是否会邀请其他国家领导人参加？如果是的话，现在进展如何？
好，这道题我们请胡部长。
根据这次纪念活动的总体安排
According to the general arrangements of the commemorative activities, we will invite leaders, former political figures, high-level officials of relevant countries, principals of relevant international organizations, foreign diplomatic envoys, military attaches, and international organizations representative to China, and international friends who have made contributions to China's war of resistance or their relatives to attend the commemorative activities will report relevant information in due course. Thank you.
谢谢主持人澎湃新闻提问。那纪念抗战胜利80周年
Commemorating the 80th anniversary is a major event in China this year. From past experience, we will premiere many literary and artistic works when major events take place. Could you please inform us in advance what works can we expect this year? Thank you for your question. Literature and art is a clarion call of the progression of the times. It can best represent a period. 80 years ago, after 14 years of tenacious struggle, the Chinese people defeated the fierce Japanese militaristic aggressors and got the great victory of the war. In that process, many excellent literary and artistic works that boosted people's morale and the nation's spirit sprung up, and many of them have become timeless classics. For example, our national anthem, March of the Volunteers, was born in the flames of war, igniting the fighting spirit of many Chinese people to rise up in resistance. And the song Yellow River Cantata also expressed the Chinese nation's heroic mettle and unyielding spirit. We will show classics and let people review that chapter in history. This year, we'll also focus on the 80th anniversary of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War, create and premiere a number of works of film and TV drama, opera, music, dance, and art. Currently, many works are being created, and I would like to name a few from different perspectives. In terms of TV drama and film, there will be a film, Mountains and Rivers Bear Witness, that shows the 14 years of arduous resistance of war. And the film Dongji Island, showing the heroic moves of the Chinese fisheries. TV drama Our Rivers and Mountains documentary Victory 1945. And in terms of stage art, there will be Peking opera Struggles in an Ancient City play tracing Doolittle, a Quanzhou quest. Hold performance of excellent stage art works. In terms of publications, there will be books, including Mao Zedong, The Banner of the War of Resistance Against Japanese Aggression, newly edited History of the Second World War, and there will be an extensive thematic reading activity.
谢谢主持人。中国日报记者提问，今年是中国人民抗日战争的胜利，为世界
The victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance made immense sacrifice and important contributions to the World Anti-Fascist War. How will this parade show that? Will you invite international friends to attend the parade?
Thank you for your question. As the main eastern battlefield in the World Anti-Fascist War, the Chinese People's War of Resistance began the earliest and lasted the longest. During the 14 years of resisting Japanese aggression, the Chinese battlefield was able to combat the majority of the Japanese imperialist forces. They obliterated more than 1.5 million Japanese troops, playing a decisive role for the complete defeat of Japanese invaders and making important historical contributions to the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War. The Chinese people suffered more than 35 million casualties. It was an enormous national sacrifice. During this parade, the important figures of 14 and 80 will be incorporated into the design of the parade to commemorate the history. The Chinese people will never forget the country's people, international organizations, and other anti-fascist forces that love and cherish peace and justice. They provided us with invaluable assistance and support. For instance, the Soviet Union provided China with a great deal of weaponry. The Flying Tigers of the United States blazed the hump. Canadian doctor Henry Norman Bethune came to China to treat the casualties, and a great number of anti-fascist warriors from many countries directly participated in China's war of resistance. History shows that those on the side of justice will have great support, and those on the opposite side will lose support. And a war of justice is bound to win extensive support and achieve the ultimate victory. During this parade, in order to commemorate international friendship, cooperation, and the victory of the war, we have invited international friends or members of their family to witness the parade on site.
Just
now, Minister Hu emphasized participation of the people. What will be the arrangements in this regard? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The success of commemorative activities cannot be achieved without the participation and support of the people. And there are following specific arrangements. First, on Victory Memorial Day for the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, Martyrs' Day, the National Memorial Day for Nanjing Massacre victims, July the 7th, September the 18th, and other timings will organize people to present flower baskets, visit commemorative facilities, and attend public memorials and other activities. Second, will leverage the educational functions of relevant commemorative facilities, sites and relics, patriotic education bases, and national defense education bases. Organize people to visit these places and hold activities for party and league members there. Third, will carry out activities like singing patriotic songs, reading poems, reviewing family letters, exhibiting literary works relating to the War of Resistance, and hold a telling heroic stories competition. Apart from offline activities in various forms, there will be many online activities. For example, opening relevant exhibition hall online, website, create converge media products that will be popular among the people, organize activities like paying tribute to martyrs, thematic writing contest, knowledge quiz, to involve more people in online commemorative activities. Thank you.
第一排这边吧。谢谢。解放军报和中国军号客户端记者提问。
China's PLA has been actively participated in UN peacekeeping missions and has been a strong force for world peace. How does this military parade show China's determination and capability to safeguard world peace?
谢谢你的提问。大家知道，联合国维和行动
The UN peacekeeping missions was born for peace and exist for peace. It has made important contributions to safeguarding world peace. This year marks the 35th anniversary of Chinese armed forces in participation in UN peacekeeping operations. 35 years on, China's military had sent over 50,000 peacekeepers to over 20 countries and regions, including South Sudan and Lebanon, carried out 26 UN peacekeeping missions. Now, 17 peacekeepers have sacrificed their valuable lives for global peace cause, from demining, explosive disposal, supervision of ceasefire, to security guard and emergency assistance. Whether facing flames of wars or epidemics and disasters, China's peacekeepers are always brave, fearless, and keen about fulfilling their missions and safeguarding security and stability. China's blue helmets has become a key force in the UN peacekeeping operations. They use their concrete actions to show China's firm support for multilateralism and the UN Charter, and demonstrates the good image of Chinese military as a force for peace, justice, and civilization. This year, troops who have carried out peacekeeping missions will participate in the military parade. This not only highlights the solemn commemoration for the victory, but also shows China's sense of responsibility as a major country to fulfill international obligations and safeguard world peace. Chinese military has always been a stout force for safeguarding world peace. Will faithfully practice the vision of building a community with a shared future for mankind, actively fulfill the responsibilities of the armed forces of a major country, comprehensively advance international military cooperation for the new era, and provide more public security products for the international community, and make greater contributions to safeguarding world peace and regional stability. Thank you.
好，第一排。谢谢南方日报南方家记者提问。前不久，国务院新闻办发布了这次纪念活动的标识。
You released an emblem for the parade, which has attracted huge attention. Could you please introduce the background and meaning for designing the emblem? Thank you for paying attention to the emblem. The emblem carries the theme, spirits, and sentiments of the commemorative activities. It is of important value. It consists of the Great Wall, olive branches, brilliance, the number 80, and the time span 1945 to 2025. The Great Wall symbolizes that the whole nation united together and fought with courage, signifying that the great national spirit with patriotism at its core is a decisive factor for the victory. Olive branches symbolize that after tenacious struggle, the Chinese people won peace with victory, signifying that the Chinese people united with people of all countries to cherish and safeguard peace. The gate of victory, formed by brilliance, symbolizes the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, and the World Anti-Fascist War is a victory of justice over evil, light over darkness, and progress over action. It shows that under the strong leadership of the CPC, the Chinese nation enjoy a rather bright prospect of realizing great rejuvenation. We feel the emblem shows historical traditions and values of the times. It shows Chinese elements, requirements of the times, and the features of commemorative activities. After it was released, we have received many positive comments. And some people say its design is concise, proper, and profound in meaning. We can tell that you like this emblem. And friends from press, please publicize and make good use of the emblem. Thank you.
提问。好，边上吧，第3排这位记者。对。
你好，新加坡联合早报。想请问今年的阅兵会
In this year's military parade, what weapons and equipment will we show?
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question.
大家一定对这次阅兵的参阅装
have
备
noted that
非常的关注。所以
you
说在
must
这
be
里
very interested in the equipment that will be on display at the parade. I will give you an overall introduction. As I mentioned, all of the equipment will be produced by China, active duty, main battle equipment. They will showcase our armed forces fighting capabilities, the new quality capabilities, and strategic deterrence capability, as well as our homegrown innovation capability. There are several features. First, they are systematic. The equipment are selected from different troops and fighting units. Some are combat capabilities, others are tactical advanced equipment. And there are also new quality forces that align with the needs of wars of the future. The second feature is that it is comprehensive. It covers command and control, reconnaissance and early warning, air defense and anti-missile, etc. Third feature is it is reflective of actual fighting conditions. It's information-led, system-based, precision force operations, and it showcases joint operation for victory. So these equipment can hit with great precision. They are adaptable to the battlefield and have great combat capabilities. Back in the War of Resistance, we had very simple equipment. A lot of them were mere knives, swords, and homemade artillery. But with a fighting spirit, we were able to defeat aggressors that were much stronger and better armed. That said, our backward equipment meant that we had paid a huge price in terms of casualties. Over these years, we have surmounted difficulties and developed a lot of high-tech advanced technologies. New type aircraft carriers, destroyers, stealth fighters, drones, strategic missiles, among other major weaponry, have been included in our armed forces at an accelerated pace, and the development of our weaponry has achieved leapfrog outcomes. Our fighting capabilities have been greatly boosted, and our troops have greater confidence to fight and win. We've noted that people in different countries are commemorating the 80th anniversary in different ways to revisit that history. You mentioned arrangements for external exchanges. What are the considerations for them?
Thank you for your question. The victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression marks a historical turning point of the Chinese nation, moving from the deep crisis in modern history to the great rejuvenation, and also an important part of the victory of the World Anti-Fascist War. It garnered widespread support from the international community. The Chinese people will forever remember the contributions made by people of all countries to its victory. And Mr. Wu also shared some information on this. In World Anti-Fascist War, the Chinese People's War of Resistance began the earliest and lasted the longest. The Chinese people supported the main theater in the east of the World Anti-Fascist War with immense national sacrifice. According to incomplete statistics, over 35 million Chinese soldiers and civilians were injured or killed, and the direct economic loss in 1937 is equivalent to over $100 billion today, and the indirect economic loss over $500 billion today. China's battlefield long held back and fought against the main force of Japanese militarism, annihilated over 1.5 million Japanese forces. China's war of resistance coordinated and supported the fighting of allied powers, strategically collaborated the strategic actions of the European battlefield and other Asian regions, restrained and disrupted Japanese fascist attempts to cooperate with German and Italian fascists, and had a huge impact on the great cause of people of all countries to secure the victory of the anti-fascist war and striving for world peace. Soviet Union, US, UK, and other anti-fascist countries provided valuable manpower and material support for China. Canadian Dr. Bethune, Indian Dr. Cotners came a long way to China to save lives and treat the injured. French Dr. Bessy transported medicine on his bike. Rabi from Germany and Sandberg from Denmark protected the Chinese people in every possible way in Nanjing massacre. Michael Lindsay from the UK and the internationalist fighter Hans Schipper and other journalists actively reported China's heroic moves in the war. Their touching stories and lofty characters will always be remembered by the Chinese people. The victory of the World Anti-Fascist War lays an important foundation for the post-war international order. The Chinese people will work with all peace-loving countries and people in the world to advocate the correct historical view of the World War II, practice the Global Development Initiative, Global Security Initiative, and the Global Civilization Initiative. Promote the building of a community with a shared future. Thank you for mankind. Last question. In the war, militia played an important role. On recent military parades, we saw formations of women militia. And what new design do you have for this year's military parade? Thank you for your question. As we know, militia is a part of China's armed forces. They are assistance and defense reserves of the People's Liberation Army. During the war, militia not only dealt with Japanese army at backstage battlefield and carried out guerrilla warfare. They also provided manpower, material and logistic support for 8th Route Army and New 4th Army. They collaborate with the main force to deal a strong blow to Japanese aggressors and made indelible contributions to the victory. And wrote a magnificent chapter in People's War. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, national defense mobilization and reserves has been transformed, reshaped, updated, and advanced at a faster pace. We have fostered a modern militia system that can respond to emergencies and wars. This year, we'll arrange a formation of militia. And this will be the first time for them to participate in military parade themed on commemoration of the War of Resistance. Currently, they have arrived in Beijing, and they are receiving exercise and training with great political passion, high morale, and firm fighting spirit. Thank you. Thank you, speakers. Thank you, friends from the press. This is the end of today's press conference. See you next time.
Well, Chinese officials just briefed the media outlining the 80th anniversary of victory in the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and World Anti-Fascist War. And the press conference announced a major ceremony with a military parade on September the 3rd at Tiananmen Square with President and also the chairman of Central Military Commission Xi Jinping's attendance at the event, and also along with the medal awards and also memorial exhibition, forums, national commemoration through all December and autumn conducted according to the officials austerely. The military officials also detailed the parade, the ground formations, equipment, aerial formation, and blending historic symbolism with modern domestic weaponry, including unmanned, networked systems. And these events aim to honor history, of course, showcase China's military progress and reinforce national unity and resolve. All right, before we enter into discussion about all those arrangements, let's get breaking news from China. President Xi Jinping has met with